be a good idea to, fortify these other entrances.
All the entrances owned by the mall do have barrier posts, but the Sears property is owned by Sears, not the mall. So it is up to Sears to install protective barriers.
Anything is getting better there.
No, absolutely not. It's a very sad story at Sears. In fact, it's one of those retailers that every time I pull it up, it's very painful to look at. Every time I look at the screen, it's a sea of red. It doesn't even have one analyst that recommends it as the stock as a buy.
Sears at the Woodfield Mall has long been a top-performing store for Sears, basically since it opened. And it has arguably been the flagship Sears, because it's not that far from their corporate headquarters, and it also holds the title of the largest Sears store in operation. It opened in 1971 with a mind-blowing 373,000 square feet. It was downsized in 2015 by 40,000 square feet for a level 257, now known as Pac-Man Entertainment. It's just basically like a Pac-Man owned themed restaurant. It's a pretty interesting place, It is important to say that this store is not scheduled to close. I filmed this video mainly because I wanted to showcase what Sears looks like post COVID-19 and after reopening. And I noticed a few big things. It was empty. There were not a lot of customers in the store. This was filmed on a Monday afternoon. And yeah, that's not a peak time to go shopping. The mall here was not dead at all. The mall here was actually pretty busy, actually. Looked like a normal Monday. Sears, though, nobody was here. It was a complete dead zone. I drove up and I thought the store was almost closed. Another thing I noticed is a lot of the stuff they're selling would be described as winter stuff. They have a lot of Christmas stuff, winter clothing. They don't have a lot of, t-shirts and shorts. But they have lots of thick PJs and thick insulated flannel shirts. That's kind of a big thing that I noticed while here. As a member of the targeted demographic to this young men's section, I gotta say, there's just not a lot going here. Like, this sweatshirt that's bright blue and pink, no way, no, I'd be so embarrassed if I actually wore that. It's just the stuff's just doesn't look good. I don't know, they're just managed to be really ugly. It's not hard to screw up men's fashion. Men's fashion is give us a t-shirt and basic pants. It's not hard. It never really changes, but this stuff is just bad. This fan shop section is also kind of embarrassing. There's a lot of Notre Dame stuff for some reason. There's also a lot of Packers stuff. This is Chicagoland, where you either hate the Packers or you love them to, annoy everyone. They also sell a lot of Dallas Cowboys stuff. There are a few racks filled up with Cubs and filled up with Bears stuff, but the overall abundance of Notre Dame merchandise just doesn't make sense. My guess is most of this came from a store in South Bend, Indiana, or Mishawaka, Indiana, that closed last year. They had a ton of it, didn't know where to send it, so they sent it here. And now no one's buying it, and it's just sitting here, so. While standing over here, there wasn't a single customer in sight. They had some great deals on their floor model treadmills. I tried to get this one here to work, but I got lazy and then I stopped trying. In front of that shed was where, like, you know, the little mini mall that most Sears had. The optical department was the last thing that was back there, but that closed in February. As a precaution, I think, for COVID-19, they are not allowing people to sit on the lawn furniture. It's a shame. I broke the rule. I'm sorry, Sears. Sears is even in more trouble now as more of their suppliers are getting angry with them. In Bangladesh, where they get most of their clothing from, Sears has apparently canceled most of their orders, or they've withheld the orders. They're not paying their suppliers, even for merchandise that had previously already been shipped. They basically abandoned the cargo and just forgot about it. Now their suppliers are suffering. This is Bangladesh here. This is a country that relies on these jobs from these apparel companies and these apparel manufacturers. And when Sears abandons them in the middle of a massive pandemic, that's just kind of a jerk move, and it's just not okay. Let's just say that. So now the lawyers for these apparel manufacturers are now trying to sue them and push them into an involuntary bankruptcy. Who knows if it's gonna work, because, you know, Eddie Lambert, you know, he's a great guy. He'll do whatever he can to avoid that and keep, 5 stores open. One thing that Sears does very positive are their jeans. They have a very good jean selection, and I do gotta give them that. Just want to give a shout out to these Christmas pajamas. Only $2.99 over there at Sears. They're honestly probably the most beautiful and nicest pajamas I've ever seen.
Everything feels right. Neon lights make the night so bright.
Last year, an unfortunate incident happened here in this area of the store. What happened was a car drove through the outside entrance that had no security barriers in place, and they drove into the mall and they smashed a few windows in the mall. Nobody was injured or hurt, and the guy was mentally unstable. But still, Sears kind of allowed that to happen by not having any security posts in place to block a car from coming in. The other store that's kind of guilty is JCPenney. They also don't have security posts. Every entrance that the mall controls and every entrance that Macy's, Lord & Taylor, Nordstrom control all had those posts in place. As a mall, Woodfield is by far the healthiest mall in Chicagoland. It has proven itself to be unaffected by the retail apocalypse so far, and I think as a future, this store might actually stay open for a very long time, or it's going to close. So I see a few paths going forward. So Sears, one way they could try to save themselves is to try to capitalize on their history. Make it look old, retro, change their logo to like the old one. Look like even the bag that I got here has the nice old logo on it. That's one way they could capitalize and try to save themselves. Or they're just going to announce closure and they're just going to announce closure, because I feel like every single Sears store is going to close at this point. And a store like this, which is undeniably in probably one of the best locations they could be at, is dead. It's completely empty and dead. While like the rest of the mall, it is post-COVID and they're going to see less business. And a lot of the stores in the mall were just closed still. But the mall had decent foot traffic. There were people there. While Sears, it was a complete dead zone. The upper floor basically is just a very spread out kids department and a very light assortment of home goods. It is very empty up here, and it's kind of embarrassing when you just walk in from a very busy mall to a completely empty store. There were 2 employees up here who were bored at the register, and there was actually, I don't think I saw anyone actually shopping up here. Notably, this is one of the few Sears stores to actually have the new or 2010 logo on it. It's not very fun. The parking lot was so empty on this side, when I drove up, I thought the store might actually be closed. Auto Center is also another massive building on the side. It does add quite a bit of square footage to the store. So this photo is all I got from the mall entrance. For some reason, I forgot to hit the record button. And yeah, and I didn't feel like drawing back, so this photo is what you get. Thank you so much for watching this video until the end. It was a longer one, and probably one of the longest videos I've made in a long time. It is the longest video I've made in a long time. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, you could be nice and leave a like. Or if you want to see even more content like this, the subscribe button is always available down below. And yeah, if you want to watch another video kind of similar to this, you could, click on one of the videos on screen now. Thank you so much, and have a great day.